Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video. And I said I was going to do this video when I did the Carolina Panthers New Orleans Saints wildcard recap. And that's what the Panthers need to improve in the offseason. Now, some of these things can't be fixed, and I'll get over which ones, of course, need to be changed. But starting with, like, the coaching, Mike Shula's gone. He got fired, I believe, yesterday. Good. Now, they're trying to get Norv Turner in there. I mean, you still got to get the talent around him. Everything wasn't on Mike Shula, but, yeah, he takes some of the blame because a lot of times people just completely overlook him in terms of, getting the blame. A lot of it's put on Cam. A little bit on the receivers when it should be a lot more on the receivers, and still on Mike Shula. So he's gone. I wanted Ron Rivera gone, but they signed him to a contract right before the game. Like, couldn't they wait after the game to see how it went? But so one of the changes to the coaching staff is great. Mike Shula's gone. You get a change up in offense. Now you have to get the talent. And since we're talking about offensive coordinator, we can start with the offense. Started with the running backs. I think they need more depth at running back. Jonathan Stewart's just not the guy. He's not making guys miss. He's not breaking a bunch of tackles. And some of it goes to the offensive line's inability to block because they haven't been that good this year. They've been injuries and whatnot. But I'll get into the offensive line. But I think they need more depth. McCaffrey, he's going to be more of a receiver. He's going to run it every now and then. But I think they need another power back. They need a younger guy, guy who can move a little bit. So either they're going to look into free agency for that, or you can go late into the draft. See, that's one thing about running backs. Running backs, you can go later into the draft and get you a gem. So I think that's one position that needs some depth. It's not as much of a need as wide receiver or cornerback or safety, but it's definitely a position that needs to be they need depth in. Offensive line. Now, this is one of the positions I don't think they can do anything about because looking at free agency, not guys out there. They're not going to make any trades. And you brought in Matt Khalil. You paid him all this money. He's been hurt and he's been bad when he's been healthy and in the lineup. So, I guess you picked your poison with that. And, even his brother Ryan, who had some good years, he hasn't been good as either. So, the offensive line is one thing I don't think they can fix this season. Well, this offseason. And that's a concern because, you look throughout the season, Cam was getting hit a lot, getting hurt a lot. And then they weren't holding their blocks in the running game. It was a big reason why the running game wasn't that good. And, trying to piggyback on that, people look at it and say, oh, the Panthers were top 5 in running. Take away Cam's running numbers and then tell me. They're bottom 10. They weren't that good. And you need your quarterback to help you, your rushing attack. That's the reason. Cam's the reason that that rushing attack is usually top 10 pretty much every season. But like I said, offensive line, I don't think that's something they can fix, but it's something that needs to be addressed. Left tackle. Right tackle was actually good. Right guard was actually good. But left tackle and center weren't that good. So that's some issues on the offensive line. They just might not be able to fix this offseason. And I really have to look into the draft, but I doubt they draft the offensive lineman. So I guess they're going to have to stay pat with that. I'll be surprised if they make moves when it comes to offensive linemen. And here's the thing. They bring in Matt Khalil from the Minnesota Vikings. Andrew Whitworth and T.J. Lang were out there, and they don't even go after him. Whitworth changed that. He was a reason why that Cincinnati team was so good, and he was a reason why that Rams team turned around so quickly. The play of the offensive line, he was their best offensive lineman. T.J. Lang, he wasn't as good as a line as he was with the Packers, but you saw what he did with those Packers teams. In terms of pass protection, he was great. Aaron Rodgers had all day to throw. So I just, and it's Gettleman. Gettleman, he was the reason Norman left, because Norman was willing to take less money to play in Carolina than what he's making in Minnesota. Dumb. He was the reason Ted Ginn left. Didn't want to pay him. Glad that guy's out there because he really screwed the team up before he left. But next on offense, and the biggest one, I talk about this every single week, wide receiver. And this is a position they can easily fix because you're only going up from what the talent they have up there. I mean, guys like Callan Clay, I would only want him to be a returner. I think he's solid at that, but as a receiver, he's not good. Russell Shepard, not good. Should be cut. Practice squad or whatever. He sucks. Demir Bird keeps getting hurt. Curtis Samuel, he's not the answer, but he's a young guy, not a great route runner, but a guy who can make plays and play out the backfield. So I like him for the simple fact that, yeah, he can grow as a player. A lot of these guys have been in the league for a while. Brent Burson, they keep cutting him, bringing him back. Just leave him cut. He sucks. Devin Funchess, like Devin Funchess, but he won't get any better than he was this season. It's the only really real growth that he had, and he's not a number one guy. So you have to get some talent in there, and there is some talent at free agency at wide receiver. They're gonna have to do something about it because you can't have Cam throwing the ball to janitors. Just not gonna work. I mean, when people talk about his numbers and actually doesn't help when guys can't get open and guys are covered like a blanket and he has to throw it in a tight coverage because guys can't get open or guys are dropping passes. But not even even if you want to adjust for passes drop, you can't adjust for guys not getting open, not getting separation. How about you look at the games and then tell me, Colin Coward? You don't look at the games. Anyways, wide receiver is a position that can easily be fixed in the offseason because most of I've been looking at it right now, there are a bunch of guys who you can bring in who are better than a lot of the guys who get significant playing time at wide receiver. I'd bring in Mike Wallace. Terrell Pryor, he didn't have a great year in Washington, but he's more talented than the receivers that the Panthers are playing. But like I said, you see everything that needs to be fixed on that Panthers offense. It's a lot. But let's move over to the defense. Defensive line, I think at defensive end, Julius Peppers played a lot of minutes, and he's an older player, so they have to get some younger guys there. I like Mario Addison, but they have to get some youth at the defensive end position because you got Charles Johnson, who's a guy who's gonna play. He's old, he's past it. Julius Peppers, he's old. He had a good season, but you can't expect a guy 37, 38 years old to play that many snaps on defense. So they have to get some more depth at defensive line. Specifically at the defensive end position because I think they're okay. They've been pretty good in the interior of the defensive line. Starlo Tulele, he didn't have a great season, but I still think he's a young guy. He's still a good player. Kenwan Short was great. He was great this season. Linebackers, I think that's the one position that really doesn't need really any help per se. I thought they were pretty good. Luke Kuechly's going to be a beast. Thomas Davis still getting it done despite his age. Shaq Thompson, he's been pretty good. He's been in and out of the lineup with injuries, but I think he's been pretty good, and he still get better. He's still a young guy. It's only his fourth season, fourth season, something like that. So he's a guy who can get better. So I like what they had with the linebackers. It's just the defensive ends in that front seven who they need to get some youth there. Now we're getting to probably the worst, the secondary of the Carolina Panthers. Looking at that Saints game, Worley and Bradbury were god-awful. They were so bad. And the Saints really went away from what they've been doing all season, which is like a balance offensively and running the ball, screen passes, really utilizing Ingram and Kamara. They went away from that. Credit to front seven of Carolina. But you saw the Saints made a concerted effort to attack those corners, and it was successful. Those corners, they were terrible in that game. And Worley has been one of the most penalized guys on the team. He's getting beat on a lot of plays. He's holding a lot. Not that good. Bradbury, I had high hopes for him. He didn't have a good season. You know, I gave him a pass last season. He was injured. He was playing hurt. But this season, yeah, those guys had their games where they were good. But you have to give the front seven a lot of credit for getting pressure on the other team's quarterback. Forcing errant throws. Secondary, man. I don't know what they can do about it, because looking at free agency, you know, corners are expensive. But they have to look somewhere else. They have to bring in some guys who are going to go out there and make plays. Either it be through the draft. Now, I don't know what it's looking like at cornerback. But they have to bring in some guys. Now, looking at safety, Kurt Coleman sucks. I bring it up every time I talk about the Panthers. Every game I talk about the Panthers. He sucks. And you look at the games, he's bad in coverage. He gets beat a lot slow. He's bad in open space in terms of tackling. He misses so many tackles just because he takes poor angles. He's just not a great form tackler. He makes plays every now and then, but you can see all the mistakes, the blown coverages. You know, he was completely blown coverage with Ted Ginn. He was supposed to be over there to help. And of course, he's nowhere to be found, and he's slow. So this is a guy who has a captain. He has a C on his jersey, but he sucks. To me, the C on your jersey should be for players who are not only great leaders, who are out there making plays. Luke Kuechly has a C on his jersey for a reason. He's out there making plays. Kurt Coleman, he's just a voice? You're not out there making plays. Now, they weren't as bad as Bradbury. Mike Adams, who I want him gone for the simple fact he's old. And he's not going to be able to play too much longer. I want him gone. He's another guy, but you expect at this old of an age to not really be able to keep up with receivers. But yeah, he's another guy who takes poor angles, bad tackling. You see it so many times in games. But they weren't as bad in the New Orleans game as Bradbury and Worley. Those two guys were garbage. You know, even Captain Munderland, who I thought was going to play a lot better. You know, he had a bunch of things he was going through throughout the season. But I thought he was going to play a lot better. He didn't. So, I don't know exactly what they can do, because, like I said, the corners, safeties, I think they need to get some other guys there. And I seriously doubt you can fix all that. I don't think Kurt Coleman, they're not going to get rid of Kurt Coleman. He's a captain. They're not going to get rid of him. Same with Bradbury, Worley. Like I said earlier, Gettleman really screwed the team with everything went on with Josh Norman. They would have still had Josh Norman on the team. And also, before I end the video, pay Greg Olsen. They gotta pay that guy. He came back, broken foot, still was dealing with it. Had a great game against New Orleans. Pay that man. Especially with the lack of offensive talent you already have. They don't pay that man, you'll see another video. Guaranteed. But I think that's all I really wanted to cover. I didn't go into specifics about guys they can bring in, because there's no telling what they're going to do. And they're, unfortunately, a team known for not spending any kind of money, even when you have the cap space. Now, they don't have a bunch just because they spent money in stupid areas. Matt Khalil came on short. I think they paid him a little bit too much. He's good, but he shouldn't be making the most on the defense. But he did have a good season, so I can't give him credit there. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. Of course, Panther fans, what do you think about the Mike Shula getting fired? I think it was about time. But if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.